What's up, and welcome back to another episode of Gizmo Slip Tech. Today we're talking about the top 5 new gaming laptops for 2024. So these are going to be models that are only available starting 2024, and we're going to be focusing on 5 categories. We've got most innovative, cutting edge technology, best all-arounder, most portable, and best performance gaming laptops. So we're going to do the number 1, and we might have a couple honorable mentions in here as well. Now, before we get into the most innovative gaming laptop in 2024, we have a quick word from our sponsor. Now, I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to Best Buy for sponsoring this episode. And I don't just take sponsorships from anyone. First of all, Best Buy lets me say whatever I want to about their laptop listings, all the pros, all the cons, so I can just be straight up with my audience and tell you which deals are actually worth buying. I would not take the sponsorship if I could not do that. And number 2, I've actually had a great experience at Best Buy. I've bought well over 50 laptops from them over the last 20 years, and I've never had an issue returning them if I need to or getting warranty service. As a matter of fact, I just used one of those a few months ago when the lens on my camera went out, and I got a replacement lens at no cost. So seriously, thanks to Best Buy for helping support me as a content creator. Let's get into the top deals right now. There will be links in the description down below to all of these laptops that we talk about today. Let's get into it. First up, we have the Gigabyte Aorus 15. This is a very budget-friendly laptop, very nice laptop, I think, for the money, but this one only has 8 gigs of RAM, so plan on getting that upgraded to 16 if you decide to go down this route. MSI Bravo 15, a step up from the Cyborg series, because this one's supposed to be 105 watt power limit. I didn't get to review this one this last year, but it does come with 16 gigs of RAM. Very good price, not quite as good of bang for the buck in terms of GPU performance per dollar, but you get the 16 gigs of RAM out of the box, so you don't need to upgrade it later on down the line. Acer Predator Helios Neo 16, you get a laptop sleeve in here. It's a little bit larger laptop here, but it's a really nice, I think, build quality for a more budgety laptop. A 4-zone RGB keyboard, very good thermals in this laptop, and a very bright 400 nit Full HD display, which I really like. $949 currently. Only an RTX 4050 though for $950 is not amazing, but mainly it's a good deal because of the high quality screen paired with great thermals. Legion Slim 5, another great laptop that I reviewed this last year, currently $350 off. Ryzen 5 7640HS, good CPU, 16 gigs of RAM, and you get an RTX 4060 in here. Great build quality, great keyboard, and since it's a slim series, it's also just a little bit more portable. Gigabyte Aorus 17.3 inch. This is one of the very best esports laptops for the money. 360 hertz full HD display, so 16:9 aspect ratio. Great keyboard, mouse. Overall build feels very good for $1,049. Only $100 off, but it's still just, I think, a great all-arounder, especially since it comes with that 360 hertz display, and it's a higher quality display as well. RTX 4060 in here. Now, if you're looking for something super portable, we got the Zephyrus G14, and as you know, the 2024 models of the G14 are coming out, so $550 off, a monster sale on the Zephyrus G14. RTX 4060 here. Super premium, very nice laptop for the money. I really like this laptop overall, but if you do get this one, be sure to follow my optimization guide because there's a lot of optimization with this laptop that can help with your thermals and your overall performance to get more performance at lower temps. So $1049 though is excellent because this has the best display probably out of all the laptops we're talking about today. MSI Stealth 14. This is a full HD plus gaming laptop. The display is not as good as the G14. I don't think I can really recommend this one unless the G14 sells out. Because the G14 is just better and it's cheaper right now. But if this G14 sells out, then the Stealth 14 is still a pretty good deal at $1149. Now, if you're a Razer fan, these next 3 deals are for you. The Razer Blade 15 QHD 240Hz RTX 3070 Ti. That's enough to play almost all games on ultra settings except for the most demanding titles. And it is going to be super thin, super portable, and very premium build quality with the CNC aluminum chassis. You can get the RTX 3070 version or the RTX 3080 version for $300 more. Now, this one's $1,600 off. If you're a Razer fan, you want to get a Razer at a reasonable price, you got these 2 options for the 3070, 3080 Ti versions of the Blade 15. And then you also have the $1999 Razer Blade 17 with a 3070 Ti. So if you want the big screen experience, it's just a little bit smaller than the Blade 18, but you don't want to pay like over $3,000 for a Blade 18, then this is going to be the next best option for someone that wants thin, portable-ish, big screen laptop that is CNC milled aluminum chassis. If any of those deals seemed appetizing to you, links are in the description. Again, thanks to Best Buy. Without further ado, let's get back to the top 5 new gaming laptops for 2024. This is my gaming laptop ranked list for 2024. We've got all of the best deals currently available at the very top. We've got all of the new laptops for 2024, at least that have solid release date and specs released so far in here, and some of them don't have official pricing yet, and we'll be adding that official pricing and links where to buy them as soon as they're available. You can see in here we have tons of links and pricing to the majority of 2024 laptops already. So tons of them have been released and out, and you can go in here and click, and you can check out the latest laptops, see pictures, see links on where to buy, prices, and some estimated benchmarks as well. First up, honorable mention, we have the Asus Strix Scar 18. This is honorable mention simply because it's got top of the line specs, really great cooling, fantastic RGB implementation, and it's got a new mini LED with 2048 local dimming zones that really help pop the contrast, help reduce the bloom of the mini LED display, and it's the perfect mixture of brightness because it's over 1000 nits peak brightness, and at the same time the HDR image just looks great because of the deep blacks and fantastic color gamut with 100% DCI-P3 color gamut. So in terms of displays on the 18-inch form factor, this is the best display I've seen so far in 2024. So I just want to mention this as kind of like best large display option in my opinion. That said, there are some other really great displays. This is going to be the most innovative laptop for 2024, primarily because it's got the world's first haptic RGB seamless glass touchpad. And you can see this huge RGB touchpad. It's actually got 5 RGB zones that go vertically down the laptop. You can set this up in the SteelSeries GG software, and you have per key RGB lighting here. The big thing here, of course, is also that it's a UHD or 4K plus 120 hertz mini LED display. It's only got 1,024 local dimming zones, so not as many dimming zones as the Scar 18, and it's an ultra high resolution as well. So it's also going to be harder to hit really high frame rates in especially demanding titles. The overall blend of resolution and pixels, I do prefer the Scar 18 display, but the Titan 18HX has some advantages over the Scar 18 in my opinion. You've got really high continuous 270 watt power throughput on the Titan 18HX. You also have large Cherry MX mechanical keyboard, and it has got this new improved bigger layout that's easier to type with, full-size number pad. I want to talk a little more about that seamless glass haptic touchpad. We've got, of course, the RGB implementation, but the whole front of that laptop is one giant piece of glass. And in that sense, it feels super premium. I obviously hope it's not something that will break on anybody as long as you're treat it like a reasonable laptop. I don't think it will, but it feels super premium because it's got that glass touchpad going across the entire front of the keyboard deck. We also have a 400 watt charging brick that is going to be smaller and more portable than MSI's previous 330 watt power brick. So that's going to easily power the system with the 270 watts continuous power throughput. The overall feel of the Titan 18X is phenomenal in the hands. Like it feels really great. I do think that it's not as premium feeling as, say, a CNC aluminum milled chassis. But for a desktop replacement, it's got great ports. It should have excellent cooling. I did do Cinebench R23 on it, and it was able to do 180 watts of power continuously on the CPU, which is very, very good. That's pretty much the best air-cooled cooling I've seen in a laptop. Notice that this did not win most performance because there's actually a laptop I tested at CES that outperformed this in terms of continuous throughput through the CPU. That said, this is fantastic. I think the MSI Titan 18HX is going to be an extremely popular laptop, especially for people that prefer higher resolution displays. Next up, we have the Razer Blade 18, and there is no official product page yet for the Blade 18. They have not finalized everything about the Blade 18, but I got hands-on with the Blade 18's new Thunderbolt 5 connector on the right side there, up to 120 gigabits per second output when it's omnidirectional, 80 gigabits per second when it's bidirectional data going in and out. That's twice as fast as Thunderbolt 4. This theoretically, I don't know how many PCIe lanes are involved here, but hopefully it's more than Thunderbolt 4, which would improve eGPU support for future-proofing your laptop, as well as ultra high resolution display output. We're talking like 8K 120 hertz monitor display support, or 4K 240 hertz monitor support. Thunderbolt 4 just can't support that kind of throughput as far as I understand. So Thunderbolt 5 is going to be required, or multiple 4K monitors, as is the case in the Razer booth when I actually got to see it in person. They're actually using 3 4K 120 hertz monitors in NVIDIA Surround through one port, which is just insane. So there's the Blade 18. I gave it the cutting edge because of the Thunderbolt 5 port primarily, but also because it's got the world's first 4K 165 hertz display. And if you're into high resolution displays, which I'm not, I'm more of a pure gamer. I obviously create content as for a living, but I think a 240 hertz QHD plus display is high enough resolution for me. I don't really feel the need to go to the 4K level. So I would actually prefer it if they released the Blade 18 with a QHD plus 240 hertz display that's in the existing Blade 18, but with Thunderbolt 5 support. So I hope they have multiple display options when the Blade 18 does launch later this year in March or April 2024. So that's the Blade 18. Now, the best all-arounder, so most innovative, Titan 18HX, cutting edge, Blade 18, best all-arounder, Blade 16. This is the best all-arounder, I think, because we have a OLED 240 hertz display, which I think is arguably the best all-around display type, simply because of the bloom on mini LED displays and the fact that OLED also has a really fast response time. I think it's a little bit better for content professionals because of the better color accuracy. OLEDs are drawn in faster when the pixels are being drawn in. Mini LEDs can get brighter. They also have the bloom effect, which is not great for content professionals or for gamers that like to play dark games where there's, bright objects on dark backgrounds, say in like a horror game, there's like a fireplace or something, you're going to see some bloom around those bright objects on dark backgrounds. So OLED just going to handle those kinds of scenes better without the bloom effect. The main downside to OLED, of course, is the screen burn-in potential. And I did get to see the Blade 16 side by side with my Blade 18 IPS panel. And the OLED was just a little bit brighter, but the contrast was really where it was at. The darker blacks in particular is where you noticed the improvements over IPS. Mini LED, of course, giving us the downside of the bloom. Overall, I think if you're looking for the best of the best gaming laptop that'll have enough performance in the CPU department, a full-powered RTX 4090, and the best quality display with the best quality ports on a 16-inch laptop, I think the Blade 16 is where it's at. Like, it's got just the best of everything, except for maybe the keyboard layout still kind of sucks with the short little arrow keys. That's about my only major complaint right now on the Blade 16 for 2024. It looks really good. There are, of course, two different models. The RTX 4080 model starts at $35.99. The 4090 model is $41.99. That's with 32 gigs and 2 terabytes of SSD space. You can go to more RAM speed and SSD space for more money if you wish. Now, we're going to talk about best all-around portable laptop next. So most portable, We have an honorable mention here before we get into the actual winners. HP Omen Transcend 14. I did not get my hands on this when I was at CES. Did not find where it was on display. Could not find where it was on display. But this thing's got an OLED display. It's reasonably priced at $1649 for a 4060 variant. Intel Ultra 7. So we're dealing with Intel here, which also means Thunderbolt 4 support potentially. I think it's got a great potential as a laptop. I can't wait to hopefully review it later on this year. But let's get into who actually won Best Portable Gaming Laptop for 2024 so far, and that's the Zephyrus G14 with the Ryzen 9 8945HS RTX 4060. 16 gigs of DDR5, 5600, 2.8K, 120 hertz OLED with 100% DCI-P3 color gamut. This is going to be the best portable gaming laptop. It's so small in your hand. It is so lightweight. The display is awesome. I got to try this out. We have a new improved touchpad that is just super big and clicks really well. And to pair with the G14 is a new G16, and both the G14 and G16 are CNC milled aluminum chassis, so this is going to be competing really well against the Blade 14, but the Blade 14 doesn't have an OLED display in it. And this is a very high resolution OLED display, arguably too high of a resolution, I think, for a 14-inch. It's kind of like overkill, basically. But 120 hertz OLED, very fast response rate. The 16-inch does have a QHD plus 240 hertz OLED. So you do have that. You also have G-Sync now in these OLED laptops. The G16 also now has a full-size SD card slot. Now, the thing about the G14 and G16, they have so many improvements. They're so thin and light. The OLED display, the larger touchpad, the improved speakers. The main drawback, in my opinion, being hands-on with the G16 and G14 is that the laptop's keyboard backlight is still not that bright. So, you know, if you're looking for a very premium keyboard experience, this is probably not, I mean, it feels good to type on. It just doesn't look as pretty as something like the Blade 14. So that's one thing that Asus really needs to improve, I think, in 2025 is the keyboard backlight brightness. Now, one thing to keep in mind for the Zephyrus G14 is you cannot get the RTX 4080 and 4090 in the 14-inch model in 2024. If you want that much power, you're going to actually have to go for the older 2023 model. And then you actually do get a higher refresh rate, 165 hertz QHD display. So there is a trade-off there. It's not OLED though. And it's the older, slightly thicker G14, but I still think it's a great laptop overall. Now, the thing about the G16 is that you still can get the 4080 and 4090 in that, but it only goes up to 115 watts of power, which is on the low side for GPU power limits in the 4080 and 4090, which is just, I guess, not as good a bang for the buck. That's the main downside here. Windows Hello in the G14, G16, just a great all-around system here. There's not much to complain about for the G14, G16. It's just, it looks so awesome. Obviously, I think the price point for the G14 and G16 is expected to go up several $100s. The base price pretty much has to go up because now we have the CNC milled aluminum chassis and OLED displays. Simply by putting those two features into the laptop, it's gonna go up at least $300, $400 minimum for the base price. So that's the main downside, I think, about the new Zephyrus G14 and G16, but they look awesome. If you're looking for a portable focused laptop, I think the G14 and G16 are the very best of the best currently so far for 2024. Now it's time to talk best performance gaming laptop for 2024, and that's the new water-cooled XMG Neo 16. There will be an electronics version of this laptop for American market as well. But the big thing here is a new and improved water cooling loop, which goes around a base plate that goes over the CPU and GPU. And it just really is effective at cooling the CPU so much better than the 2023 version of the Neo 16 and Neo 17. We're talking about like a 25 to 30% performance bump in CPU performance simply because of the better cooling. And now it can do, it was doing consistently over 200 watts for the first run or two of Cinebench R23. And it was doing like 185 or so continuous watts with continuous runs in Cinebench R23, which is the highest throughput, higher than the Titan's 180 watts of continuous throughput power. But to be able to get that much performance, you do have to have the water cooler. I mean, I'm sure the air-cooled performance on the Neo 16 is still pretty good, but it's not going to beat the Titan in air-cooled versus air-cooled, simply because the Titan's cooling system is just bigger, better 18-inch chassis, and it utilizes that 18-inch chassis quite well. The other key things about the XMG Neo that really help tip it into the more premium category, it's now CNC milled aluminum chassis, and it feels great in your hands. And then on top of that, it's got a new keyboard layout with arrow keys that are extended down, and the number pad that is separated out in like a 4-row number pad. It just feels great. I love the layout. And the display is now 500 nits, 100% sRGB as well, which is like a big upgrade from the 360 nits or so that the XMG Neo 17 had that I tested in 2023. So screen upgrade, cooling upgrade, actual performance upgrade, and then a chassis upgrade to being all aluminum. So boom. I mean, honestly, the Neo 16, I think it's a contender for like potentially one of the most premium laptops out there because of the build quality improvements, design improvements, shrinking the size of it as well, getting rid of the air gaps that was in the Neo 16 in terms of chassis design, and making the whole thing just a bit more portable at the same time, as well as making the water cooling system better by making it attach more firmly in the back, which should again help prevent any kinds of leaks or anything like that from happening in the back. And if you didn't know, in 2023, they improved the water cooling system with a self-sealing valve so that you can unplug it at any time and you're not going to leak any water. In 2024, they're making a small improvement simply by making it attach in with a little like a notched steel rod piece thing that goes in. It has a nice shunk pop-in feel now whenever you put the water cooler in. It'll really help keep the water sealed better and with more confidence if you move the laptop around on the desk frequently. Because when I was using the Neo 17, I was getting some little water droplets from moving the laptop around a little bit from the self-sealing valves kind of going in and out of being fully sealed. And the new 2024 model, it only has a couple drops that come out when you actually fully pull it off, because it's not going to come off anymore, just a little bit just by wiggling it around. So really, really love the new XMG Neo 16 with my hands-on experience. It was a pre-production unit that I got to try and didn't even have keycaps for all the letters and numbers on the keyboard. It was literally looked like a ghost keyboard, which is, I mean, it was cool seeing such a pre-production unit. But the coolest thing, of course, was the thermal solution. If I was to buy a new laptop in 2024 and I had an unlimited budget, I'd probably still end up getting the Blade 18. Whether it had a 4K display or a QHD 240 Hz display, simply because it's the most portable, premium, high-end, fully featured gaming laptop in 2024, in my opinion, still, because of the speakers, the webcam, the performance on the inside, and the overall size of everything with the port selection. The Blade 18 still is king, in my opinion, for gaming laptop of the year. But that doesn't mean it's the best in every single category or in every single way. And there's a lot of great new laptops in 2024. Be sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell, and check out my other 2024 gaming laptop coverage, which starts this week with some live streams with the Scar 18. I'm really excited to bring that to you. So that's it for my top 5 gaming laptops for 2024. I hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you in the next one. Brandon, out. Za.